Hi, it's Jackie from Sights Music School, and welcome back to Violin 101. And so we've learned the parts of the instrument, and we've also learned how to hold the instrument with no hands. But I want you to notice that I'm always beginning my violin hold by holding my hand here on the violin's shoulder and never on the neck of the violin. If you can't remember those parts, go ahead and go back to the lesson on what the different parts of the violin are, okay? But it's very essential. Remember in the beginning, I talked a little bit about when I teach a student, I want to make sure that without trying to give them everything known to man to learn in the beginning and overwhelming them, that they have the basics that are going to allow them to be a great player in a short amount of time. So if they decide they want to be a professional violinist, I want to teach them the skills they need from the beginning. I don't want them to be like, oh man, I wish I had learned that right from the beginning, but I was trying to go so fast that I didn't learn how to hold the violin the right way. This is a foundational thing. We're setting up your foundation of violin playing, and it's so easy. Here's what you need to remember. You must get your violin into position by having your hand on the violin's shoulder. I put my left hand on this shoulder of the violin, and then I put the shoulder rest up over my shoulder, and then I put my jaw on the violin and I make sure the violin is flat and release my hand. Here's why. If I'm coming from this position, when I come back up, my hand is going to be in the correct position to play the instrument. However, if I'm holding the violin here on the neck of the violin, when I put the violin in playing position, my hand is in the complete wrong position. Now, you might see an advanced player holding their violin here and then coming to the correct position. But it's very difficult for a beginner to do that. And you might hear someone that has a Stradivarius or a violin that they paid $100,000 for that says, oh, I'm not going to hold my violin here because if I do, I'm going to wear off the varnish. Well, my guess is as a beginner, you don't have that type of an instrument, and it's really going to help you out to get this violin in a good playing position and then set up your hand. So my suggestion is to just hold the violin on the shoulder so that your hand is in the proper position for playing from the very beginning. That's going to make your life a lot easier. Now, once you've done that for 100 days, 100 hours, 100 minutes, right? What's going to happen is you're going to create a habit of how you hold the left hand. Once that is established, then you could get to the violin playing position from anywhere. I mean, I could hold this and get there, right? I could hold it out here and get there. I could do anything to get there on my violin. Okay, so it's very important that you bring the violin up to your shoulder with your hand in this position. So I want you to really watch. I've got my thumb on the back. I've got the palm of my hand on the violin's side here. And I've got my fingers on the top. And I am not squeezing. I'm holding this pretty lightly. I bring the violin up. I count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I try to scope my nose straight down the violin. So I'm looking straight down at the scroll, and you might even check in a mirror. Look in a mirror and make sure that you look nice and tall. Make sure you're not slouching forward, or a lot of people like to stick their belly out. Make sure you're standing up nice and tall. And make sure that the violin is making kind of an L shape. So your body and then the violin out. You don't want it popped up. That's a clue that your shoulder might be up a little bit high. Or if you're pressing down really hard with your neck, or a lot of people try to do this in the beginning, remember, we're not putting any excess pressure. We're just letting the violin pop up against our jaw. Okay, so that's how I'm going to hold the violin without any hands. I'm going to let it go. And then I'm going to bring it back up, and then I'm going to come back down. And so I definitely want you to practice holding the violin with just your jaw and your shoulder, and make sure you can work from 5 to 60 seconds, and then work your way up to 2 or 3 minutes where you can hold the violin. Next thing we're going to do is learn how to pluck the strings.